amigos, it is tu prima favorita Bobby here, and I'm coming back at you with like a follow-up or a part 2 to the previous video where I was basically talking about not letting people talk you out of what it is that you really want. I wanted to do a follow-up video to that just because there's something else that is on my mind when I think about that. So I know that we are in this day and age of decentered men, and I think that that's beautiful. I think that nobody should be centered in your life but yourself, unless you have kids, of course, because you know you gotta worry about the kids, you gotta worry about the hijos. But I also have seen a lot of pushback for people who still want the family unit or still desire to be wives or mothers or married or whatever the case may be. Now, I'm not one to say throw caution onto the wind because of what it is that you want. I am a firm believer of listen to the people who are in those positions of what you want, but I'm also a firm believer of listen to the people who are talking positively about those positions that you want. I understand that here in today's time, we see a lot of things. I myself see a lot of negative things as far as being a wife and being a mother and all of this stuff, and I'm not going to put any of that past to say that it's not true. I know that there are a lot of people who have had those experiences and they may not have been the best for them. I know a lot of people who might regret decisions that they have made of who they decided to partner with, who they decided to marry, who they decided to have children by. But I will also say that beautiful and loving relationships do exist. I will also say that faithful partners do exist. People that are on the same page with you do exist. So I think it's very important to not let social media keep you from wanting what it is that you want. Now, be cautious, yes. Proceed with caution. Vet people, take your time, don't rush into anything. But again, I feel like there is a huge push, especially for young women, to kind of guilt them out of feeling certain things or desiring certain things. And I only say that because I have been there myself. I found myself for a time feeling like weak because I wanted, you know, positive dating experiences, or I wanted eventually to be partnered or to be in a relationship or whatever the case may be. Not rushing to the altar today, not trying to be in a relationship today or nothing like that without getting to know somebody, of course. But I felt like those were things that I needed to be more hush-hush about. And one thing that I realized was why I was feeling that way was because somewhere my algorithm was picking up that this is the stuff that you want to see, and it wasn't the stuff that I wanted to see. But it was pushing to me all of these horror stories and all of these women that are recanting their experiences with men and talking about you need to stay single and you need to love your singleness and it's not worth it to be in a relationship and da 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 da. And yes, that can be true for some people because that's their story and they have every right to share it. But me, as a person who has seen and does see day in and day out positive relationships between people, to see beautiful marriages, to see people that have good dating experiences or relationships or whatever the case may be, it's like, okay, this feels weird. Because on the one hand, you get online and all you see is this negative stuff, but what I'm actually seeing, because I'm actually around people and I actually have conversations with people and I actually live a life where I associate with other people and have conversations with other people, that is not everybody's story. And that's one of the reasons why I will always tell you, get out and touch some grass and get out and talk to actual people. Because if you sit around on the internet all day long and you listen to everything, the people who complain the most, the people who have the most to say, are people who have negative experiences. Because the people who have positive experiences are busy off living their positive experiences and enjoying their lives. So if you sit around and all you do is intake negativity from online all day long, that is what is going to form your thought process and how you think about these things. So then you will walk around thinking that there's no hope for me, there's no hope for anybody else who wants these certain things, because everything is crap and everybody is a bad person. And that's just not true. It's just not true. And I think that we have to be careful when we are sharing our stories to not make it seem like the end all be all just because we feel like we are in a certain place because we've had a negative experience. I'm not telling anybody not to share their experiences. I'm not telling anybody to silence themselves and not share their stories. But I think that you still have a responsibility as a person with a platform or who's deciding to share your story to still let people know that there's positivity out there. And sometimes that can be hard. If I'm just experiencing negative after negative after negative, it's going to be hard for me to give somebody else hope, right? But also, I don't want to get on here and I never want to make people feel like there's no hope for them, because I know that there is. Even if I'm having multiple back-to-back negative experiences, maybe there's something within me that I need to go see, or maybe I need to sit down for a while, or maybe I need to evaluate the way that I'm moving. But I never want someone else to take away from my experiences that there's only negativity out there, because you could get out there and have a perfect experience, or I'm not gonna say a perfect experience, but you can go out there and have great experiences one after another after another. So I just really think that it's important that we take things with a grain of salt, whether it's positive or negative, because you never really know what's going on. There are a lot of people who get on social media and make up stories or over exaggerate or lie, good or bad, positive or negative, because that's what brings views, that's what gets the people talking, and that's what gets attraction. So that's why it's another reason why it's important to make sure that you get out and that you live life for yourself. Make sure that before you get online and you start talking about how everybody sucks, the entire dating pool is trash, and I'm gonna tell you, it may not be the best, but again, there are still good people out there, there are still good pockets out there. But before you do that, go and have your own experiences, and not even just in the sense to go find trash, because if you go looking for it, you're gonna find it. Whatever you go looking for, you're going to find it. So you gotta be careful with that too. Make sure that you're looking for experiencias positivas, that you're looking for positive experiences so that you can invite those into your life. But also, go have your own experiences. They're not all going to be positive, but they're not all going to be negative. But before you get online telling people it's not even worth it, check yourself, because it might not be worth it for you, but for somebody else it might be. And we get so caught up in sharing our sob stories, not to say that you shouldn't, but we forget, or we don't think about the fact that there are people who are just now getting out into that world, and you want them to have those experiences for themselves. Yes, you want to warn them. Yes, tell people about the red flags that they should be paying attention to. Yes, tell these, younger women or younger men how to vet what it is that they're looking for, how to show up authentically themselves, how to be confident, how to radiate the certain type of energy that they want to find. But don't just tell people that it's pointless, because that might be your story, but that might not be theirs. And the same thing if you are the person on the end that is receiving the information, that might be their story, the person that's telling their story, but that does not have to be yours. And so I just say, don't let other people's negative views or experiences make you feel like you should doubt yourself, or you should doubt that I shouldn't even be seeking this, I shouldn't even be wanting this, I shouldn't even be desiring this. I'll tell you my personal story. For the longest time, for years, first it was just because of me. It was because I was not ready. I was not in a place where I felt like I had anything to bring to anybody. I was still getting my life together. I was just getting on my feet, just getting into adulthood. So I wasn't trying to date. I wasn't trying to, do any of that or whatever. But then when I did get to a point where I was like, okay, maybe I don't necessarily want to be in a relationship, but I want something more serious, or I'm willing to see where things go with somebody, or see, how they can build and how we can, grow together if we do end up somewhere or whatever. But I was so afraid to even admit that to myself, because I got into this mindset that why it's not even worth it, why it's pointless. I should be focusing on myself. I should be focusing on my life. I should be curating the life that I want to have, which I was already doing. Because you can do more than one thing at one time. Sometimes you might need to prioritize something over the other, but you can have it all if that's what you want, if that's what you desire. But it got to the point where I was afraid to admit that to myself. And also the experiences that I was having, I think, were also because I was too afraid to admit it. So I would show up into spaces and not really tell people what it was that I was about, not really be authentic, because I wasn't being authentic with myself. That no, I don't want just another friendship, or I'm not looking for a fling, or whatever the case may be, but because I'm too afraid to admit it, because society is telling me right now, oh, that's weakness and you shouldn't tell people this, and you should play the game and all this other crazy crap. It's like I was getting games played, or I just was bowing out because I was just like, what's the point at all? I was doing that more so than getting games played, because you're not gonna play games with me. I'm just not going to engage, you know. But it wasn't until I became like real with myself of like, this is what I want, this is the type of relationship that I see myself in, or this is what I'm willing to put forward. I want to get to know somebody genuinely and intentionally, and not just, oh, just go with the flow, you know, type thing. And so when I started showing up in that way and being more real with myself, and not letting people's negative experiences or the negativity that, you know, social media likes to spew about relationships, or about it's gonna be hard to find somebody intentional, which that's not false, but at the same time it's not impossible, right? And it's not impossible to get that energy that matches to you if that's how you show up. So, and I'm not just saying that to relate it to relationships, I'm speaking on that, but I'm saying this to relate to anything. Like, do not let what other people have to say negatively, don't let that negatively affect your experience, especially when you haven't even gotten out there to see what it's like for yourself. You can't let people tell you that the work field is ish, so you shouldn't even go apply for a job, and then you're like, okay, cool, I just won't work. Like, no, that's not how that works. So in life, you have to have your own experiences. Everybody's experiences are unique to them, and yeah, we might go through similar things sometimes. We might deal with similar things to other people sometimes. We might have the exact same experiences as other people sometimes. But your story is not their story, and their story is not someone else's story. So it's up to you to keep striving. It's up to you to decide when it's time to take a break, or when it's time to pull back, or when it's time to push yourself totally into it and move forward. But don't let other people make that decision for you, especially people that are sitting here online that don't really know you, or don't truly have a vested interest in your life, because y'all don't know each other like that. So that's all I have to say. Feel free to leave your comments down below. Let me know if you agree, if you disagree, if I need to stop running my mouth, or if I missed anything, because I love to engage with y'all in the comments. So please just make sure that you like, comment, share, subscribe, and remember to join me in the Cousins Corner. I am tu prima favorita, Bobby, and I just like to talk. And thank you for talking with me today, and I will see you next time. Bye.